Mr. Akin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This hearing may be a little frustrating for some people, maybe to our witnesses, because some of you feel somewhat constrained by you've been told to talk just in a particular or specific area. Fortunately, we're not constrained and don't seem to fit into boxes very easily anyway. And the term political correctness has come up a number of times this morning, and it seems to be high on my mind. I guess it seems to me, standing back looking at the forest from a distance, you've got a guy who is Muslim. Okay. But we also know that some percentage of these guys get radical, and they're the ones that start wars and things in the Middle East and blow people up. Well, we've got one of them that works for the military, and he got radical on us and shot a bunch of people. That seems to be just the simple face of it. Maybe that's not politically correct, but it appears to be the facts. So my question is, as I read through all of this report, there's nothing that really makes any reference to theology or religion or what drives this guy. And I suppose maybe there's a difference of opinion. Maybe some people think that somebody committed a crime, like somebody just goes wacky in the office and decides to shoot some people. And perhaps the other perspective is that we're dealing with an act of war or an act of terror where somebody, because of an ideological motivation, decided that something tripped him and he decided it was time to do holy war. You have been tasked, though, gentlemen, with looking at procedure. And it seems to me that procedure would have to take a look at people who are potentially time bombs, even if it's a time bomb motivated by theology or by some sort of a radical religious view. And so my questions are several. First, was it an act of terror? Mostly looking for yes or no. Second of all, procedurally, is it possible for us to say, hey, watch out for people that are from a certain sect of Muhammad or whatever it is that potentially can go crazy? And can we specifically look at that when you're looking at somebody's performance appraisal and watch for that? I guess people would call it profiling, but some people would also call it common sense. And those are my two main questions, if you could hit those pretty quickly, because I have another one or two.
I'll be quick, and I'll go directly to the second one first. It is always possible to look at acts or statements. And it doesn't matter whether they're statements of, I don't like that guy because of the way he walks or the color of his hair, or I have a concern and it's based on what I believe my religion tells me to do. I do not think religion or theology are off bounds when we look for indicators of potential violence. With respect to...
So procedurally, we can do that. It's not illegal when you're reviewing somebody's profile or their jacket, their dossier comes before you, and this guy happens to be this and this. You go, okay, so watch. We're okay to say it's okay to look at this more closely. That's okay to do that.
Yeah, well, years ago I was the DOD General Counsel. I'm not today, so I'm not going to opine on it legally. I'm just going to say we recommend that we look at all the indicators.
Okay. Is it an act of terror was the first question.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. I wasn't asked to do that. I wasn't asked to try to determine it. I know this. The people who died were terrified, and the people who were wounded were too.
Thank you, sir. Admiral.
Secretary West has answered the question exactly right. And my early focus in my opening statement about violence and indicators is all about the subject that you are raising to us. And I'd notched down all different kinds of categories of people but the focus is violence. We didn't care where it came from. We wanted to come forward with recommendations that said, go look at this. In the area of self-radicalization, the indicators are not understood, and therefore we don't react well, because we have not spent the time to talk within the department about what those indicators are. As I indicated, just Friday, the Army is publishing the best that they've got today. Our recommendation says you need to put together a group of people and look at this long term. This isn't going to stop. This is not a single point solution.
Admiral, could I just cut in because my clock is running pretty tight here. I still don't think we have this figured out. And part of what concerns me is that after this event at Fort Hood, we had this guy, Louis Safi, speaking. Louis Safi is part of the Islamic Society of North America, and according to the Justice Department is connected with the Muslim Brotherhood. We're talking about a guy who's one of these money launderers, who's a radical Islamist, and he's speaking to make people feel better at Fort Hood about Islam. I think we need to build in somehow the political correctness is overriding looking at the common sense that there's factors that drive this behavior, and that's got to be built into our model, and I'm out of time. I have a response, Admiral.
May I?
Yes.
This is a two-way street. We know that we have over 3,500 Islamic believers serving effectively and faithfully. And so the street runs both ways.
Thank the gentleman.